You're listening to the AfterBuzz TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Gene. Johnson.
The AfterBuzz Studios in Los Angeles, California. Presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is AfterBuzz TV's Keeping Up with the Kardashians After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AfterBuzz TV's Keeping Up with the Kardashians After Show.
Ridiculous.
That's loud, Bobby. That's aggressive.
Sorry. I'm just in the short chair today. I guess I just feel a little emasculated next to Frankie.
A little inferior, as you
Completely inferior. Hey guys, welcome to the Keeping Up with the Kardashians After Show right here on AfterBuzzTV.com. Season 9, Episode 15, A Thailand Vacation Part 2. I'm Bobby, as always, with you guys every week with my lovely panel of beautiful ladies. Do that again, Stir.
Oh, no. Sorry, I got a little lost in the music there.
We'll start down with her today. Sterling Cates, Jessie Owen, and Francesca Dugan. Hey, girls.
Hello.
And I just want for the record, I'm 6'2", Frankie's like 5'1", but I have the short chair, so it looks like I'm about 5 feet tall.
I finally feel tall, guys. And
How's it working out for you, Frankie?
I can't hear myself. There we go.
There we go.
I think.
I'm just a little emasculated. Hopefully you're not watching the YouTube, or I'll just stand for the show. How's that? Let's get into it then, guys. As we get into it, remember, if you haven't already...
You look really funny over there.
Don't I look ridiculous? Look, what is going on? Screw it, I'm going to stand.
This is really...
All right.
No, don't do that.
No, now you're not going to fit for the viewers watching.
I'll make it happen. All right. Let's start with Kendall and Kylie going missing, okay, in Thailand.
Sorry.
You done?
It's hard to take you serious right now.
You just want to just get it all out.
I'm done.
Just get it all out.
I feel like you're a coach right now, like trying to pep us up for like the big game or something.
Just let it all out, you guys.
Okay,
The
continue.
KUW2K game.
Yeah, anyways, let's talk about
Say that 3
Kardashians.
times fast.
Did you want to like get anything else out?
No, that was it. Sorry,
Okay.
my bad.
It's okay. All right, Stir. All right, let's talk about Kendall and Kylie going missing.
Okay.
First off, were they missing? Were they actually gone maliciously, or did they really just want to have time alone? Was this a malicious thing to do to the family, or was it just them hanging out?
I think it was a combination of both. I feel like they definitely wanted the attention they got from it. And I feel like they were very frustrated with Kris and Bruce fighting, and who wouldn't want to get themselves out of that environment?
Oh, God,
But they did it in a way that they knew they would react, that the family would react the way they did.
And they're old enough to know what they're doing. They knew that would cause that reaction. That's what you're saying. Absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which is kind of rude to make the whole family like chase after you, which I know they have to have something going on for the show, so it's not a big deal. But like you said, I totally agree. They definitely wanted the attention, or they wouldn't have been sending pictures. They wouldn't have ignored phone calls, text messages. They would just been like, hey, we're downtown or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think at first they wanted to just get away, and they probably woke up early in the morning and went out and did, activities. But then when they started studying the pictures, when you clearly know they're trying to get a hold of you, then they were just being funny. But they were only doing it to Khloe, though, if you notice. That's because they, especially Kylie and Khloe, they play a lot, pull pranks on each other and joke around. So I think it was just in fashion of their character. But, I mean, as a parent, yeah, I would freak out too.
Were you guys surprised that the family kind of, once they realized that they were playing this game with them and kind of just sending them on a scavenger hunt around Thailand, were you surprised that they kept going with it? I was surprised that Kim played along with it and went to the different spots. I was expecting her to go back home and get a massage or something once she realized when she realized that they were just like screwing around with them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like knowing that they're safe, I feel like they wouldn't have stuck around as long.
But I think Kim and Khloe both got that it was kind of fun.
Yeah.
So I think they were just playing along.
Well, yeah,
too.
I think Kim was having fun looking out. She's like, oh, massage and spot. I don't know what she was more concerned with, what she was like finding, or the taking the selfies, or the actually trying to find Kendall and Kylie.
The thing that kills me about Kendall and Kylie, though, and I know we're going to talk about Bruce and Kris's relationship in a minute with this, but Kendall and Kylie were both adamant that they left because they couldn't stand Bruce and Kris and fighting and all the stress of the family. Well, guess what? You leaving the way that you leaving, that's going to create more stress in the family. So it's going to make it worse. So why would you do that. You all right with your mic over there?
Yeah.
So why would you do that and create more stress if you're already bad enough with the stress? I feel like you wouldn't want to make it any worse.
I mean, you're naturally not thinking about that. You're thinking about yourself. Like,
Because you are a Kardashian.
no, I would do the same thing. Oh my God, they're
No, you
fighting too
wouldn't.
much.
Your
gonna
mom
go.
would probably beat you.
I hope she wouldn't beat me.
Anybody's mom would not react like that if you were in a separate country and you took off like that. I understand Kendall's 18, but you know, you want to be an adult, you know, kind of start acting like an adult.
I think Kris was definitely concerned, and Bruce was obviously very frustrated with the whole thing.
But they weren't even like mad. They were like, "Oh, we're just glad you're okay." It's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
You can't just do that. You're in a different country too. Like you can't do that.
That has to make it worse. You're not in Calabasas doing this for a couple of days. You're in another country. And I know Kendall travels the world because of the modeling gig and she has whatever. But this was just her and Kylie. There were no handlers. There's no agents or managers or whatever there. It's the two of them. And we never saw a bodyguard or anything. When Kim and Khloe did that mud run, we saw the bodyguard with them and knew they had somebody. It wasn't apparent to me that they had a bodyguard here. It was just the two of them.
Right.
In a
and
halfway
they
around the
took
world.
taxis, like the normal people taxis.
Yeah, that's
instead of
true.
their drivers. So
Oh,
and
excuse me, instead of their driver.
Yeah.
What a life,
well,
right?
I mean, the whole family was taking their drivers
no, you're
around.
right.
So
And I don't even think they had the cameras with them. I think it was just them.
Yeah. Oh, definitely it was just them. Yeah. So I assume they never told the producers that. So maybe we did create a story. I just wonder if this is a vintage Kardashian story where they made something out of literally nothing. And you could argue that this whole show is something out of nothing. But you know what I'm saying. There's certain Kardashian themes that are really something out of nothing. And I can't help but wonder if this was one. It gave us an amazing Kardashian something though, and that's that Bruce and Kris relationship. Woo.
yeah, maybe they were trying to find some things to create some more tension between them, and it definitely worked if that was the case.
Bruce and Kris feel about each other the way I feel about this chair today that I was sitting in. I'm gonna tell you what.
Yeah. What did you think about what Bruce was saying to Kris in the van? I mean, when your kids are missing, she's already high stress. This is a very, serious situation when you can't find two of your teenage daughters in a foreign country. And then I felt like he was really putting the blame on Kris. He was like, "Oh, I wonder why they ran away, or I wonder why they didn't contact you."
Well,
I was like, that's like hitting someone when they're already down.
That I was like, whoa, Bruce.
It's pretty far. It's like a too
Low,
far.
you're picking at Kris now. You know you're just trying to get her to just boil.
Yes, but she also would not tell him, what the issue was when Kylie and Kendall were, they came in the room and they were like, "You lied to us," whatever. And you know what I'm saying? They didn't know. He wasn't getting all the answers he needed, basically. He didn't know what was going on. All he knew was there was a fight, they walked out, and now they're gone.
But even so, if he didn't know what the fight was about, the fact that, Kris is freaking out about them being missing, and he's just...
Well, yeah, I'm not saying
jerk.
it's right, but I'm sure he was freaking out, too.
Right. These are kind of the times, though, when you need to put away all of those past arguments, put away whatever was going on last night, and really focus on getting Kendall and Kylie back. There's no need to bring up whatever happened last night.
Well, but it's,
you need to
for
focus on what's
Bruce, I
important
don't even
right now.
think it's a what happened last night thing. I think it's him totally antagonizing Kris, no matter what the situation would have been. It's that picking idea you're talking about, but it's the idea that the two of them should not have gone on vacation together. I know that they still love each other on some level. They're not in love, marriage, or whatever. And I know you have this family, and I know you have this group that you both want to be close to. But you can't have Bruce and Kris spending significant time like this together. You just can't do this because they can't do it.
Didn't you love how they chose to sit with each other, though, on a little kayak?
They do
And
that.
then she's leaning back on him like, take a picture of me and Dad.
Yeah. I don't know why they keep doing that this
Do a
whole
selfie
trip.
right
they
now.
do the canoes together.
Dude,
they were in
caves.
the van together. I don't know why they keep pairing up together and doing that.
I know why, because
caves
executive
are
producer
magical.
Ryan Seacrest wants them to pair up together.
Yeah.
Caves are romantic and magical. Didn't you see that beautiful setting? Like, it was romantic.
I mean, it's weird that even Kris said, we love each other. We're still trying to figure out how we work. And I'm like, what?
I feel like you see this a lot. A lot of people have divorced parents out there. I'm one of them. But I feel like parents always try to make for their kids try to make the best of a situation. So as a kid in a situation like that where your parents are divorcing, and a lot of times you hear, we're going to try to remain friends, make this as civil as possible for the kids, blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, you can't force that.
Right.
You do want to remain friends for the family, for the kids, so that they don't, you know, so that their life doesn't change as much as it probably will. But she said at the end, I think this is why they're so upset, because they didn't believe that we were going to be friends, and they're not really proving that they will.
But here's a question, Sterling, and I don't want to drag into your past personally, obviously, but I think it depends on when the divorce happens. I don't know if you were a little kid or you were young, or you and your siblings were young, but when this divorce happened, all these kids are either grown adults into their own families, or in Kendall and Kylie's case, 18 and 16, which are impressionable ages. I'm not saying they're adults. You're not automatically an adult the day you turn 18. That being said, though, it's not like it's 8-year-olds that you're having to shuttle to soccer practice. And back. So had Bruce and Kris been a little bit more drawed out a line and said, we can't cross this line, we're going to separate our relationship, we have to be black and white about this, as harsh as it might have been, I think the family would have understood it a little better because they're a little older.
I completely agree. And especially like when you do have teenagers who are they're not going to take it well anyway. But, you know, you don't want to confuse them anymore with, oh, we're going to be friends, we're going to do this, this, and this together, but we're not going to do these things together. Yeah. So it's confusing. So I agree, you do need to definitely be more black and white about it.
Yeah, I mean, Kendall even said maybe if they stop fighting, they would like each other again.
Yeah.
So they're still, the kids are still unsure about what's going on.
Yeah, I think they just want them to stop fighting, as anyone would, you know?
I think they just need a break. Like, they tried to, you know, end it and then act like they're still the same. They just don't live together. They need a break. Like, 6 months, they can talk, like, if they have to, but just leave each other alone. Like, and then you can try to do all the, let's be friends. Let's see if we can make this work. And if you can't, you can't. Like.
So here's my question to you guys about these three, or about these two. Who's in the right here? Who is being more, who is treating the other one worse? Is it Kris's problem because of how she's acting and how she reacted with Kendall and getting on people's nerves in general in Thailand? Or is it Bruce's problem for antagonizing her? Or is it 50-50?
I think it's both of their problems.
Okay.
I mean, this episode we saw a lot of Bruce picking at Kris. Last episode in part 1, we saw a lot of Kris making a big deal out of nothing. So it really is 50-50 here. It's a mutual thing that they've got to work out and really put not just the whole family, but especially Kendall and Kylie at their priority for trying to figure out how this is going to work.
I agree, and who knows how it is going to work. I will say about this family, for as much strife as they cause each other and as many problems as they do have, Kris said this at the dinner tonight. She said, one thing I love about this family is at the end of the day, we get together for dinner, we love each other. I know part of that is the magic of the magic of television, but I think she's right. I think this is an incredibly, incredibly close family. They're closer than really most families, I think most of us know, if what we see is to be relatively believed. That's a very close family. So for all the problems that they do have, and Kris was right. She said, I have 6 kids. Every day, one of them's causing a problem. It's just the way it is. So as close as they are, they're going to have problems like this. And if they keep getting over it, you know, it is what it is.
Well, and I think a lot of their problems, I say that lightly, I don't, you know, that's like the sibling fighting, that sort of stuff. You fight with who you're most comfortable with, and you pick at who you're most comfortable with, because you're not going to, you know, go around and insult people or name call or say things you're probably going to regret to people you don't really get along with. So I think that really does speak to how close they are, because they do feel so comfortable really being so openly honest with them.
Is that why you guys just pick at me all the time, because you're so comfortable with me?
All the time, yeah. We're just good old buddies.
That makes me feel better now. All right.
I will say this about Kris and Bruce. I feel like they're kind of trying to not form teams, but just in case form teams. Like, I think like Bruce is trying to like get his team, and then, you know, Kris is trying to be the victim and get her team. I feel like they're just going back and forth and having that security, like, well, you can blame mom or you can blame dad.
That's an interesting prediction for the future. If they do, that's a really fascinating prediction for the future, because couples do this. Divorced couples do this, and they try to turn kids against each other in the worst case scenarios. But why wouldn't this happen to some degree with these two people? That's interesting. Cool, good talk, guys. All right, let's move on to Kim and Brody. We got a lot to talk about with Kim today. The first one is kind of funny though. It is I see on Frankie's notes, Brody chill is one of the notes that you have.
Oh, no, that was because when they were, you know, freaking out about Kendall and Kylie, Brody was just like, he knew that what they were doing.
They were screwing with him. Yeah.
How many of you guys wrote down half chub in your notes today?
I did. But I wrote down, Kendall said half chub, haha.
Yeah, that's true. You don't want your 18-year-old saying half chub. Let's talk about Kim and Brody, though. Brody's response to her, the naked with the leaves, all in good fun or a little over the line being in Kim's
I
bed?
thought it was
funny.
I found this whole part of the episode so entertaining. I was thoroughly entertained by the whole, like, everything happening. Kim playing in on it, and like Brandon and Leah just like not giving up, not letting up. I thought it was hilarious.
I thought it was funny how Kim said, "Ooh, why did I just look? Because you wanted to look. Don't lie, girl."
But I like how when we're talking about it, they're like, "Didn't you kiss Kim back in the day?" To Brandon.
See, what is back in the day? When they were 10 or when they were 20?
Probably when they were like 13, 12, you know,
okay.
when you're like
See, that was
hanging
kind of
out
surprising
with
to me
your
too.
stepbrother.
And Leah was like, "Really? You did?"
Poor Leah's like,
I hope
Hold up.
stoic face.
Listen, I hope it wasn't the first kiss. I remember my first kiss. You never forget your first kiss, right? I hope it wasn't their first kiss.
That's weird.
That'd be something.
That's really weird.
That'd be really bizarre.
You can really tell that Brody is super uncomfortable though when he's getting harped on. That's so bad.
Yeah.
Because Brody does.
Funny.
Brody's the most like Bruce in some ways. He does his thing in Malibu. He hangs out. He's kind of on his own. He's always doing his own thing. And so when you get Brody around the family, he's more relaxed than Bruce is, so he's not as high strung. But I think he still gets pretty agitated to be around that energy. He doesn't hate it. I know he likes being there, but that's a lot of energy for him to have to take. He's not used to that.
It was just funny.
It was funny.
I
It was
mean,
great.
and Kim's gorgeous. So even as her step brother, I'm sure he's thought that she's
It's
really
funny that
pretty.
she-
So it's kind of
It wouldn't
they made it
even be
uncomfortable.
weird if it ever did happen. It wouldn't be weird. They're not blood related.
I'd be whoa.
No, it would be
It'd
weird,
really weird.
but if you think, you know,
What's funny-
technically it's not,
What's
but
funny
it
to
would
me
be.
is that Kim didn't think that it was weird that her stepbrother was attracted to her because she's probably just so used to everyone being attracted to
Yeah,
her.
why would you
Hey,
not?
now.
She was just like, "Oh yeah, totally. I'll play along with it."
Wait, I'd take that back. It is a little weird. They have siblings, like they are related.
They have common
They're
blood.
siblings.
Absolutely.
It's
Yes, they
weird.
do.
It's weird. I'm sorry.
One thing about Brody, for those of you at home who are keeping score, Sterling's ready to tie the knot with Mr. Jenner, young Mr. Jenner.
Hey, don't put her on the spotlight.
No,
Bobby.
well, listen,
What if he's watching? That's like super
If
embarrassing.
he's watching Brody, I've got her Snapchat if you want it. Sterling, I
He's
did
in
notice
a
that.
serious relationship, and I'm way too respectful for that. So.
That's true.
Good job,
Brody
Sterling.
and Brandon both have little tattooed bees like on their wrist right here. I think if you got a tattoo bee, you might be in the club.
That would be super creepy.
Yeah. it would-
Yeah, Steven back there.
A
He's
bee
part
for
of the
what?
bee
I don't
club.
even have a B initial.
He's got a huge bee on his chest. All right, engineer Steven's got a big old tattoo bee. It's a little bit bigger than a wrist tattoo. Steven, how badly did that hurt to get that thing?
It hurt pretty bad, but I gotta actually put it on camera for the guys because it's the only time it's ever going to be relevant.
I'm gonna get a tattoo on me that will never be relevant except for the Kardashians.
I'm gonna get a tattoo. I'm gonna get a tattoo on me of an image of Steven with a tattoo bee on him.
That's like some
First
Steve
I get-
O stuff.
First, I get people who say my voice sounds like Scott Disick, and now I have a B, and apparently
It
somebody else has
does
a
sound
B.
like it.
It does kind of
Kinda
sound like
does.
Scott Disick.
I
Can
didn't
can
know
you
that.
can you
Who
talk
has a
about
B tattoo in that show?
Brody and
Brandon
Brandon.
Brody?
Brothers.
Oh, what does it stand for?
Brandon and Brody.
Oh,
Dang, dang.
at least mine's more sentimental
Yeah,
than
what
that.
does yours stand for?
Mine's from my grandfather.
Oh, nice.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Good to know.
but it's still a B.
Yeah. You fit right in with the Jenners.
You do.
I know. I'm gonna when I meet them, I will totally just rip my shirt off, say, "Come at me, bro."
Well, wait a minute.
at
Here's,
me,
here's,
bro.
Put
Guys-
in a good word with me.
guys, here's a question for Steven. Steven, indulge me for a second. Let's say that you saw Kim totally naked. Do you half chub it?
She's not my type, really.
But even if she's not your type, you can't deny that she's a
cannot
pretty
deny
woman.
that booty.
I mean, I've never seen her in person. Apparently, she's really pretty in person, but I mean,
He is hedging his bets.
I work with Photoshop, so I know what people can do with Photoshop, so I just don't even count on it.
Wow.
Yeah, but
Not to be hated, but
can I say this though? While we're talking about Photoshop, when Kim was laying on the boat, you know, trying to seduce Brody or whatever, did her nose look like she had a nose job?
I think she has.
I think she definitely has.
I'm
had
sure
a
she.
nose job.
I didn't
I
notice it right
never noticed it before until that moment. I was like, "Huh, her nose looks
fixed.
I thought Kim looked great on Paris Hilton's show, like way back when.
when.
I think she looked amazing, and I think
Pre-plastic
now that
surgery?
she's just like oh, I have a gigantic ass. It's like, look, I mean, even as an ass guy, like not even really into that.
Sorry if you're underage.
This is Relationships 101 with Stephen Lemieux here. This is a big thing.
This is like Kendall discussing half chubs.
Chubs.
No.
Oh Lord. All right, let's
went there.
Let's move on from tattoos.
Yeah, we asked him.
We did go there.
Maybe later on in the episode we'll get a replay of Stephen pulling his shirt
in
away
slow-mo.
in slow-mo with that big B on there. That's a big tattoo, Stephen.
60 frames a second, slow motion.
He's already getting it ready back there.
Oh Lord,
We're gonna shoot it on red.
Yeah, quality.
You're gonna enter it into a film festival. It's gonna win a bunch of awards. Speaking of awards, that was not a good segue. Let's talk about Kim, Chloe, and Rob. This is serious though. This is actually a good segue, and this is a big one to talk about. What do we make of how Kim and how Chloe have treated Rob? We're not going to rehash Rob's story. Lord knows we talked about that a lot last week. Although, by the way, folks at home, thank you very much for the comments on YouTube about that. That was really good. That meant a lot to us, to me personally. I know it did. But what about Kim and Chloe and how they're dealing with it? Are you tough love Team Kim, or are you supportive and unquestioning and kind of guilty Team Chloe? Where do you guys fall?
I can see both their sides. So
I can too.
And that's why you can't pick a side. I know I saw on Twitter a lot of people were saying nasty stuff about Kim. She's cold-hearted and blah blah blah, but I see both sides, cuz like I said last week, like for example, you have someone that's in a bad relationship and they don't leave after being there and listening to them, you can't do anything, whatever. And then you have other people who are, like Chloe said, really close, and they understand what you're going through. Like, I've been in kind of a situation where my best friend didn't talk to me for a few months because she didn't want to hear it anymore because I wasn't doing anything about it. But then I have my mom over here who can sympathize with me. So that's how I feel. It's like Kim and Chloe with Rob. Right. You know what I'm saying?
And they are so close. So you can't really, I feel like, first of all, Chloe feels what Rob is feeling. Kim is kind of detached from the situation. Correct. So she doesn't have that same connection to Rob and what he's going through that Chloe does, in addition to that she feels so guilty for a lot of the issues that he's having. But I don't think that, I really wish that Kim had vocalized to Chloe what she said to Kris later in the episode than what she actually told Chloe, because at the same time, yes, they don't have the same opinions, but Kim really shouldn't have, again, hit all those low blows with Chloe about go home to the 50 rappers she's dating, calling her a miserable person and all of that. But I really wish she had told Chloe that this is her time for her to be selfish. She can't and she needs to save herself and not worry about saving Rob as much. Yes, she should sympathize with Rob, and yes, she should be there for Rob. But at the same time, she has a lot of stuff she's going through that she needs to deal with personally.
I don't think that she really realized that until she talked with Kris, though.
Yeah.
To see Kris crying, that even made me really sad.
Yeah, that's what I'm just saying. I wish that she had already thought about that so she could tell Chloe that instead of what she actually did tell Chloe.
But for Kim giving low blows, I mean, they were both giving low blows.
Oh, yeah.
And
I thought it was equally aggressive.
Especially Chloe, to be sitting there, you're at a family dinner and like, oh yeah, I can't wait for 12:15. Like, that you're calling that into attention. You're not saying, guys, I think I might leave. You're like, oh, I can't wait for 12:15. So everyone can be like, what are you talking about? Yeah. And make it a big deal, And
let's not forget with this Rob situation specifically that Kim is not like the other ones. I know that we joke about Kim being Kris's favorite, even though that's not a joke. That's the truth, and Kris means it. I'm sorry to say. But Kim is, say what you want, A-list. She's married to an A-list, top-of-the-line musician. She gets pub everywhere she goes. We can debate her talent, but she is A-list in a lot of regards in media. Yeah. The rest of them are not. And so Kim is different, and because of that difference, Kim is going to be more disengaged. And so I know it's cold and heartless to say it, but we should have almost expected Kim to react like that with Rob.
I did. I totally did.
Kim, I'm not saying Kim doesn't have a bad life or a difficult life. I know she works very hard, and you have to do very hard work to do what she does. But she's a little more sheltered even than maybe the rest of them, because she's had a different experience with fame and media and money and all that sort of stuff. And her problems are even different than Chloe's problems and Rob's. So she is not going to be able to empathize as well with it. And to me, it's bad that she can't empathize, but I understand why Kim comes from where she comes from, as heartbreaking as it is.
I'm curious to know what what Rob meant when he told Khloe that house made me do dark things.
Yeah, that's I mean, because we don't know what really went down. A lot of stuff was going on behind closed doors that we didn't know about until Khloe and Lamar actually, you know, made it public that way they were gonna kind of split. So yeah, that's probably, I mean, how long were they married? Like 4 years?
Not that long. I don't think it was that long.
I think it was like 3 or 4.
Let's remember, they dated for about a month before they got married.
I think it was 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was very short, but I mean, like you just said, we don't know what went on, and clearly Khloe has expressed this in other episodes that there's a lot of stuff she had to keep in and lie, like about her birthday when he was out supposedly in a hotel with some other girl. So, I mean, but at the same time, Rob can't use that as an excuse. I do know, though, you know, you are the company you keep. So if you're kind of around people that aren't really uplifting, you're going to kind of fall in that pattern too.
Yeah, I completely agree.
It's telling that Rob is using that as an excuse, because with his personal experience and from other people's personal experience, you will use those excuses, and Khloe mentioned it, you will use those excuses until you are ready to get better. And so to know that he said that about that house making him do dark things in that dark house tells me that he's not ready to get better. He's not at that point where he wants to take account for it, and stuff has happened to him, but it's also stuff of his own doing. And if he says it's the house's problem, he's not ready to take the next step and acknowledge what he did and get better about what he did. So maybe he still is quite a ways away from actually helping
Kim
himself.
said even that Rob has taken, because Brandon said the first step is the hardest step sometimes, and Kim was like, yeah, well, he's taken that first step a lot of times, and it seems that he just keeps falling back in the same cycle that she was talking about, and that kind of just keeps dragging Khloe back in that same cycle with him.
And then Khloe did mention, though, he's taking those first steps because we made him.
Right.
So,
he's not doing it for himself,
exactly.
which is what he needs to do. Right.
And yeah, I totally lost what I was going to say. I did that like 5 times today so far.
That's all right. But listen, that thing what Brandon said, I think it was Brandon who said that thing about, you know, you would be depressed when you don't leave the house.
Yeah,
he never leaves the house, and it turns into weeks. I said it last time, days turn into weeks, turn into months, and this is Rob slipping away.
Yeah.
And not even realizing that he's slipping away, and doing things like blaming Khloe and Lamar's house, doing things like blaming whatever else. The thing I found interesting about Rob, we thought last week on the show, I guess incorrectly, that Kris was kind of removed from this situation and was kind of maybe giving tough love to Rob because she would do something like what Kim does. Kris told us in this episode she was on the phone with him for hours every day. Or Khloe said it about
Kim
Kris.
said that.
Kim said hours every day is a huge commitment for somebody of that business level. And I know Kris is going to prioritize her family over business anyways, but hours every day is a strong commitment to do that. So maybe I read Kris wrong.
Before we get sorry.
Oh, no.
Sorry. Before we get too deep into that, can I just say that she justified 2 of her actions. Like the first one.
Kris, you're talking about.
Yeah, Kris. The first one was she was like, oh, I love having Leah, Brody, and Brandon here. They make me laugh. And then last week we were like, oh, she only brought him on the trip for, you know, to keep Bruce entertained or whatever. And then what were we just talking about?
About Rob.
Yeah, about the Rob. She justified, like last week we were like, oh, well, she really doesn't care about Rob. She's being weird. But this week she justified it. I thought that was funny. I was just throwing that out there.
Well, I was surprised she did justify it. And I think it's important that she did justify it to let us know that she talks to him for hours. And I think it's also important from Rob's situation, from what I talked about last week, that sort of stuff you want to keep private because you're ashamed of it in a lot of cases. So if he's going to talk to his mom about it or anybody at all about it, that's an important step for him to start getting better. And you start to come to terms with it when you do something like that. So I don't know how far away he is, but hopefully it's not, you know, the worst.
I'm going to agree with Kim, though, when she said, I know she said jokingly, I don't want to have 50 kids, because now that I'm just like listening to you guys speak and just thinking back on the episode, I know I always go to my mom when there's something like really heavy, and, you know, I know she stresses out about my situations and my sister's situation. So yeah, Kris has 6. Yeah. Biologically
4 Kardashians, 2 Jenners.
Yes.
Yeah.
And oh God, I can't imagine that now that I think about it.
Well, as a parent, you never want to see your kids in pain, and and when they're battling something, it's kind of like you're battling it with them.
Exactly.
And, you know, and having lived a full life, and then now you're having to live, you know, some of the same struggles, and a lot of times a lot of different struggles, just because life is different nowadays. But yeah, like as a parent, you never want to see your kid battling with something that is so hard, especially with what Rob's going through. So I can imagine that being like just tearing Kris up inside. It was really sad when she was talking about she can't remember a night where she didn't cry herself to sleep.
It's sad to hear her say the worst feeling in the world is when one of your kids isn't in a good place. We talk a lot about Kris. We say a lot of not so good things. We criticize her a bunch with Bruce and whatever else. But the empathy that she shows for her kids is what's the word I'm looking for? It's relieving to me to see her show that empathy explicitly.
No one can argue with you that she loves her kids.
Yeah.
Like that is just one thing you can't say about Kris.
And I think more or less at the end of the day is actually a very, very good mom. We can criticize the business thing, but she really is a very good mom.
Yeah, she definitely is a good mom. The only thing I would like to see her, well, it's a little too late to see her do this. I wish she would have taught her kids, I don't want to say manners because I'm sure they have manners, but like when like Kendall and them like yell at Kris and talk to her like that, like, yeah, I know a lot of people do that to their parents, but like you have to realize who the parent is and who the child is.
Well, you're exactly right about though. I can tell you why that happens because Kris, this is a criticism, wants to be the cool parent, do her own photo shoots, get all of her own plastic surgery, do a bunch of stuff and act like Kim and go to clubs or whatever. Even if it's kind of a joke, when you want to be the cool parent, that line gets blurred, and if you're not careful with that line, you're going to totally lose it, and she does sometimes.
I mean, we've talked about this in previous after shows too, though. I mean, we just spoke about it right now. When you're comfortable with people, you can snap at them and say things to them, even if they're your parent, you know?
I don't know. I would never, like, I'm not a parent, but I would never let my kid talk to me like that. Like, no. No, I don't know if y'all would, but
well, you're not gonna let them, but they're gonna do it. Just teenagers.
But I'm not just gonna sit there and take it.
There's times to this day. My mom is my best friend. You guys met her last week.
Oh,
but
Diane is wonderful.
By far, there is not anyone in comparison to her in my life. And there are times where I'll be, and she lives across the country, and there's times where I'm venting to her on the phone, or I get really quick with her, or I'm impatient, or whatever, and then I'll hang up, and then 2 minutes later, I call her back and I'm like, Mom, I'm really sorry.
I love you, Mom.
I didn't mean to do that. You don't deserve that. I'm really sorry. But it's just because I'm so comfortable with her that like I feel like I can express that. But, you know, obviously it's the rude thing to do. But it's true about who you're comfortable with is who you're the first to snap at sometimes because you don't have that reserve there.
But there's a difference between snapping about little things, but like taking back a few episodes like where Kris was laying in, I think it was Kendall's bed, and she's like, get out of my bed, you're getting makeup all over my sheets, get out. Like, you would never talk to your mother like that. Like, that's just, like, you don't, there's something.
I also have no idea what it's like growing up in the limelight with my own reality show and everything I could ever want. So I can imagine that they are a lot more spoiled than I was growing up, and have a lot less discipline. So I mean, like, that's
and that's the thing.
That's
and
just
I think
life. That's just different lifestyles.
That's an important thing to note because the idea that Kendall and Kylie and the other kids too, they don't get told no as much as the average kid gets told no. And I know that Kris doesn't spoil them. Now, by our standards, she definitely does spoil them. But she doesn't totally spoil them and coddle them. And I think she has probably instilled in them a decent enough sense of work ethic, manners, treating other people with respect, blah, blah, blah. But when you're that rich and you're that well off and you're that successful and you're that fortunate, you don't have to say no as much as mom and dad on a budget. So when you don't get told no as much, some of these issues rise up and you become a little more, you know, self-confident around mom. And you may say some things that a middle-class kid or whatever would never say. So I think we do need to acknowledge this is a different family. I know they seem normal in a lot of ways. I know their relationships are pretty normal family stuff and it's interesting, but they're not like us at all. Not even a little bit. 150 grand, 150 grand a week in Thailand, not even a little bit like us. I would like 150 grand in my bank account.
Right.
Seriously.
I will survive for like 6 years on that. You have no idea.
So true.
You have no idea. I say that now. If you actually give it to me, Lord knows what would happen. Let's do...
he buys a helicopter.
Hey, I'm just saying, me and Lord Disick.
I really miss Scott. These past couple of episodes
what's cool,
have
though?
just been...
Scott's actually in the studio with us. How you doing, Scott?
Yeah, I'm doing all right, guys.
So great to have you here.
Hey, Scott, do you think we should do news and gossip right now?
No, I think we should just wrap it up.
Tell us how you really feel, Scott.
Scott wants to go home and play with Mason. Let's do news and gossip.
AfterBuzz TV News.
All right, Sterling, you get to start today because you get to start every day because you're our favorite panelist.
I know. Well, I just like, this isn't, you know, that exciting, but, you know, just going to bed last night, scrolling through my Instagram, and obviously I follow the Trey Songz because I love Trey Songz, and he has these pictures with Kendall and Kylie, and he's all over them, you know, squeezing Kendall on the side, Chris Brown, and yeah, doing
like this,
doing a little hand grab like that. And was it Tyga that was also in them?
Yeah.
And I
Chris Brown.
was chatting with Frankie about it.
Wait, is Tyga still alive?
Yeah.
I'm not even, like, I'm impressed.
What?
So they were all at a house party together. Kendall, Kylie, Chris Brown, Trey Songz,
Was
Tyga,
Ja-
and all these rappers.
Was Ja Rule there?
Maybe.
Please
I don't know.
stop.
I just saw what I saw on Trey Songz's Instagram. So last night I was a little, you know.
And I think last week
She's
too,
16 years old hanging out with.
Well, last
Chris
week
Brown.
I think Chris Brown posted pictures with the sisters too.
Well, they're doing a dodgeball tournament, like for charity or something.
Oh, okay.
And Kendall and Kylie are on Chris Brown's team that he's like fundraising or whatever.
Team Breezy.
Team Breezy. So
I want to play
yeah.
dodgeball.
I tell you, you learn a lot of things on Instagram.
I guess, man.
It's true.
I'm just nervous. What's a 16-year-old doing with Chris Brown with
At
his
a house
sister?
party.
At
I
a
don't
house
know.
party.
I don't know. I'm not speculating.
And I got to ask maybe a more important question. Are Kendall and Kylie the new Olsen twins? Do you remember a couple years ago the Olsen twins who learned to like fall off the...
No,
I'm just saying.
That's
I
not
don't
even.
think
That's like a different,
comparison.
yeah.
Just because
the
you guys
moral
have
of
good
this
memories
news
about
and
Full
gossip
House.
story is that I'm just jealous that they were hanging out with Trey Songz.
Well, no, I'm not even.
That's
Hey,
the only relevant
You,
gossip this evening.
you said because we
all
have
I was
good
talking
memories of Full House. I am a Full House fan,
Yeah.
but I think the Jenners are doing it better than the Olsens.
Wow.
I don't think you can compare though. It's two
Like-
completely separate, different set of siblings.
Okay.
They're not even twins. Come on now.
Oh, my bad. My fault. Duh.
Anyways,
Durr.
All right, who's got
I'll
more
do my
news?
phone.
Jesse, go for it.
Okay, so we were talking about Scott. Well, surprisingly, he's not going to drink again until Courtney gives birth to her third child.
Yeah,
Because-
right. And Sterling and I aren't going to Chipotle again for a month. Yeah, right.
I don't know. It's not that long. It's only like, because this was just released, so July to November, 5 months. I mean, you could go 5 months without drinking, right?
Yeah,
Without-
it's doable.
Without drinking or without Chipotle? Without drinking, yes.
Without drinking.
Yes, yeah. But can
Without
Scott,
In-N-Out,
Can
no.
Scott,
it does kind of
Can
concern
Scott.
me that you said he won't start drinking until the baby's born. So
Well,
just
no,
as
that's
soon
what
as
it
the baby
said.
pops out, he's just gonna like go balls to the wall.
That's what I was
was drinking.
That's what I was going to talk about. Because I love Scott, but I don't want to say, you're an alcoholic. But it sounds that way because he has all these drinking problems. And for him to say that he promises not to drink until after the birth, it's like, why wouldn't you just say, hey, I think I have a problem because I can't control myself because he just got alcohol poisoning. Which, I mean, people party too hard, but it's like, you're a dad now. Like, let's calm down.
And you've been a dad for a while.
Yeah.
Listen, you're only an alcoholic when you drink. So when you're not drinking, you're not.
What did you just say?
Whoa, hold on.
It made sense
How did
in my
airplanes fly?
No, listen, I always joke about this. Shut up. Put your fist down. I always joke about this with my friends, though, that I'm only an alcoholic when I drink.
I need a second. Hang on.
Come on. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Let's just say
No, it's
Mr.
true.
Disick
Whatever.
doesn't make good
Whatever, guys.
choices when he drinks.
How do
I
airplanes?
don't.
How do airplanes fly?
What?
How do airplanes fly, Frankie? Did you find that one out?
Dude, okay, it's just a weird thought to think about.
Speaking of drinking, I have no idea what's in these cups on this table today, but I apologize
Lord.
for
Okay.
everybody. Jesse, go for
I've
it.
got
What else
one
you got?
more. Chloe may be pregnant.
Oh.
I don't think it's true. It's gossip. Come on, guys. I don't think it's true.
That's it.
Yeah.
Well, all right. I guess we'll find out in a few months.
Well, the article was talking about how it would be neat if all three sisters were pregnant at the same time.
wow.
Like, because, we predicted that Kim might, get pregnant.
I know she said she wanted to, right? She
So
wanted
they're
to do
probably
it
trying.
soon after.
I'm gonna regret saying this, but if all three sisters were pregnant at the same time, you've got the three of them plus Rob. You got 4 Kardashians pregnant simultaneously. Too much?
Too much.
Wow,
Honestly-
Bobby, come on.
I think
Low blow.
I thought you were Team Rob.
I am Team Rob,
That
which
was
is
a
why I
low
feel like I'm
blow.
okay saying that once. That was too much, though. I crossed the line. Sorry, Rob.
Is it bad that I kind of hope Chloe's pregnant?
Why?
She wants a baby.
Why
She's
do you
always
hope
wanted-
she's pregnant?
Because I mean, she really wants a baby. I think she's ready. Like, I think, because there's those women that like don't need a man, and once they have a kid, like their whole life becomes about their kid. Like, I think she would be one of those people.
Interesting. Okay. I got a couple pieces of news for you guys. The first one is, speaking of Khloe and her sex life, she went on Power 105 in New York City, talked to radio host Angie Martinez this week about French Montana. She mentioned he's Muslim, which I did not know until I read this. That's interesting. And he's observing Ramadan currently, which is, of course, a month of fasting. She described it. Khloe said, quote, "That's no eating," which we knew, "no drinking, no smoking, no sex. It's been so fun," sarcastically. But that's why he's wearing all white. He's so pure and holy, he's virginal.
Okay, my best friend is Muslim, and she's practicing it right now. And I know all that is accurate. Like, they don't smoke the whole time, but eating, they do eat when the sun goes down.
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely,
sunrise,
yes.
sundown.
And sex, they do still have sex.
She does, or they do?
Well, like, people that practice, like, it's not, like, I guess it's just by choice. Like, because I think the whole idea is giving up stuff that,
It's like
you
Lent
know, what
for
can you get up?
Catholics.
Like, give up or whatever. What can you get up? What can you give up?
I will say this. Martinez told Khloe, Angie Martinez said to Khloe that she could torture French Montana right now because he can't have sex. And Khloe said, quote, "I have been every single day."
That's not surprising for Khloe. We know that she loves that.
She's got a little bit of that going on. The second thing, this is a good one. Would you guys, the three of you and those of you at home, would you wait 18 hours in line to meet Kendall and Kylie?
You know what?
Hell no.
I don't think she waited 18 hours, but I think my sister went to try and meet them when they were visiting, because I know they're going the PacSun Mall tours right now. I think they had a cutoff. I think they had wristbands, and she didn't make it in time to get a wristband. Yeah.
I will say I waited in line like 2.5 hours for a blue frozen banana. I will say that.
Moving on.
I don't know. No, we're talking about waiting in line for stupid things, and that's one of them. So I can't say anything.
No, you're right. That's a really stupid thing.
I can't.
I hope it was
That's
the
about
best
equivalent to
damn banana
18
ever.
hours.
You know
for
what?
Kendall and
Sadly,
Kylie.
I got up there and they were out. So
So are Kendall and Kylie. It's the same difference. They're not exactly there.
well, like your friend, she didn't get the wristband. So yeah, I don't think that would.
The reason I
have
say
been
this,
worth it.
guys, is at the North Park Center Mall in Dallas, Texas, on the 24th, just a couple days ago, Kendall and Kylie had so many fans there. There were reports that the first person in line to meet and greet the reality TV stars waited 18 hours to meet the girls. There was a girl named Mariah from Arkansas who not only traveled from Arkansas to Dallas, she was the first person and came with the first group that arrived at 9 p.m. the night before, and they met them the following afternoon.
That is crazy.
And I bet you it was probably for like 2 seconds.
Yeah,
too.
and they were just like,
100%.
hey, and then sign their thing or something.
And I bet they smelt bad doing it.
Who?
The girls waiting in line.
Oh, maybe they did.
They spent the night at a mall, dude.
Maybe they did. All right, let's go to predictions. Let's have some fun.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
You guys don't look excited at all about this. None of you looks like you want to
I was
go.
just
All three of
thinking-
you are looking at your shoes and stuff.
Yeah,
I
I was just thinking, I don't really have any.
Mine's like the same as last week.
I'm trying to decide if I think Chloe's going to stay in
Yeah.
Thailand. I mean, like, I don't have anything, like, I didn't think about
Groundbreaking?
predictions. Yeah.
Okay.
Do you have anything
Riveting.
that's groundbreaking?
None of y'all.
Do you think Chloe's pregnant?
No, definitely
No, I don't
not
think she's pregnant. But I will say this so we can put some positive vibes out there. I think Rob's going to get better. I think he's going to, you know, have that click in his brain that's like, hey, I need to change, or, you know.
The only problem is it's
He'll
going to
get
take a
there one
while
day.
because we're
Yeah.
hearing all the paparazzi stuff now to this day, which is months beyond them filming in Thailand, of course, and it hasn't gotten better.
Right.
So
Well, I mean,
One
that
day.
we know of.
Predicting
like,
in real time.
yeah,
It's
and we
tough.
don't see everything behind closed doors. Like, he could be like, you know, mentally getting right and then working on his body. Like, maybe he's accepting himself for who he is. Maybe he had it, you know, his medical, because we haven't really heard much about his medical stuff lately, because that's obviously confidential. Like, you can't get that information really. Well, I mean, I'm sure you could, but, you know, I'm sure there's a lot going on there too. Like, honestly, I think he might even have like a thyroid problem. I don't know.
interesting. All speculation. Who knows? I will make one prediction. I think that Bruce will get into a somewhat serious relationship with a woman before Kris does with a man. I know Kris has been kind of linked to boy toys or whatever you want to call it, but I think Bruce will get in a serious relationship with somebody before Kris.
I could see that, actually. I feel like Bruce needs somebody.
We all need somebody.
He needs a life partner.
He needs a life partner who understands him and is maybe a little more compatible than Kris is. And I think Bruce is maybe more mature to do that. And Kris is so busy and so strung out with all the kids and all the work and all the momager stuff. I don't think she has the time to commit to that like Bruce does.
I think that's a very realistic prediction, Bobby.
I think Kris will be pissed.
Oh, 100% she'll be pissed, and we'll have like 2 episodes to talk about it. All right, guys, as we get going, social links, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat. Sterling, where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Sterling Cates.
And you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Miss Jessie Owen. Twitter, Instagram, and Vine, XOXOCESCA.
Vine, give me a break. What are you, 12 years old?
What?
It's good laughs on there.
Don't hate on Vine.
Whatever,
Good laughs
man.
on there.
Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat. I'm on Twitter and Snapchat at Bobby DeMuro. I get snaps every week from Kardashian people, so seriously, snap me away. That's it this week, Season 9, Episode 15. We're going to be in Thailand next week, too, for the final part of that episode. For all 3 of these lovely ladies, I know we have fun every week, guys. Thank you for joining me again.
Sure does.
We will see y'all 1 week from today. Goodbye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.
Thank you for watching AfterBuzz TV on YouTube. For more of your favorite after shows and interviews, subscribe to our channel here, and be sure to share your opinion on the episode in the comment section below here. We'd love to see what you guys are buzzing about. Thanks again. Buzz you later.